Alright guys, we gonna make it out the hood with this one, trust me. So this video is gonna be about a Vapi and Make dummy overview. If you don't know what that is, those are just two platforms. Yeah, recently I just made a prototype of an AI receptionist, voice receptionist for a restaurant, and that's what we're gonna be selling. But before I release the tutorial for how to make that, I gotta show you guys first like how to use Vapi and Make, which is how you're gonna build the AI voice receptionist. So let's get started. So here's a quick introduction. My name is Brian, I'm 16 years old and I'm from San Francisco. I'm documenting my journey to success and hopefully I can help other people around my age with the same thing. What will we be selling? We're going to be selling an AI voice assistant for a restaurant. So basically what that is it's just an assistant who picks up the phone when a call is made. And here's the things it could do. It can handle reservations, it could update reservations, you can cancel reservations, you can place orders for pickup, and most importantly, it replaces a human receptionist. So as you can see, it could handle a lot of things, so which will be beneficial for the restaurant. So what is Vapi? Vapi is basically a website that lets you build an AI voice caller. And all calls are ran on Vapi. So how does Vapi work? Vapi is a system that listens and understands the caller's needs and notes down the information given by the caller. For example, like if you call a restaurant and you ask, hey, can I get some McDonald's or can I get a Chick-fil-A? Vapi will actually listen to you, it's gonna remember it and it's gonna store it and it's gonna note it down. And then Vapi will use that information and put it in variables. So if you don't know any coding whatsoever, that's perfectly okay. Variables is what you store information in. Like you could, in a variable, just imagine it like a box. You could put shells in it, you could put like a book in it, you could put anything. So Vapi uses those variables to run functions in the background. And functions are basically instructions of what to do with the variables. And so when the functions are ran, the variables are given to make.com. And we're going to find out what make.com is in a few seconds. So just to recap, Vapi is a voice caller. It listens and asks questions to the caller and remembers what they told it. And Vapi will send the information to make.com, which is another system. And just to explain what make.com is real quick, make.com is like, it's like the back end. Make.com is kind of like the back end of how this whole voice caller works. All the processes that will happen behind the scenes are ran on make.com. So like it's just a website similar to Vapi. But the thing with make.com is it could like do things in the background. Like let's say you needed to place a reservation on Google Calendar. Make.com is a thing that's actually gonna run it. Alright, demo time. We're gonna see how Vapi and make.com works, and we're gonna get to see the basics of Vapi and make.com and what you need to know. So no worries, I'm gonna take you by your hand and we're gonna get rich. Watch this. One day we're gonna get rich. One day. We gon' have it one day. Alright, so if you haven't already done so, please go to vapi.com. Vapi, create your own account. It's totally free. Yeah, create your own account. And once you've logged in, you could see this screen you might see on the overview page. So the overview page is you're gonna be able to see all the calls made. Platform is where you're gonna be hanging out most of the time. This is where you're gonna be spending to build your AI receptionist. In voice library, you could choose from many different voices. You could have a boy voice, you could have like a girl voice, you could have anime voice. But yeah, there's a lot of things. Logs is where you're gonna be able to see the calls that were made. And the cool thing is you can actually like see the voices. Like it records the audio too. So just so you know what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna give you a basic overview of how Vapi works. So let's see. Alright, so this is an assistant I created. It was really easy. It's easy to create an assistant. You just choose a name, you choose blank template, and you create assistant and you save. But this is just one example of voice receptionist that I made for a restaurant. So as you can see, first message. This is the first thing the AI caller will say when someone calls the restaurant. So it's gonna say, "Hi, I'm Kate. Welcome to Nuriga Teriyaki House. How can I help you today?" And then the system prompt. The system prompt is where the juicy things happen. This is where you can assign a role for the AI. This is where you can assign it a task. You could tell it what to do. You could give it rules. You can give it instructions of what to do. You can tell it to run functions. You can give it notes. You can even give it context of like, hey, you are a restaurant assistant. We serve Japanese cuisine. This is who you are. This is what you must do. You can input a menu, like all the food options they have, and most importantly, you can give it examples of how the conversation is actually going to be. So you can see, hello, this is May. How can I help you? Great, I like reservation. This right sidebar you don't really need to worry about. And over here in functions, you get to choose which functions you would actually do. And in this function here, you can choose which functions you want to run for this assistant. So for this one, I have selected Noriega place order, and I have Noriega as a reserve table. If I remove these tools like this, then the voice caller won't be able to use it no more. And I'm gonna explain what those tools are in a second. So phone numbers, this is where you're gonna actually be able to connect a phone number, a real number, to the assistant, so you could actually call the restaurant. In files over here, you can upload a file of like what the restaurant is, like the menu. You can upload the hours of operation of the restaurant. I wouldn't recommend using it now because Vapi is still in the early ages of using files. So right now, any information that you want to provide it, you should just provide it in the system prompt, like the menu or like the menu. So in tools, these are all the functions that you can create. And like I said earlier, functions are just instructions of what to do with information, aka variables. So we could create, so let's say you want to create a new tool or function. You would press new tool, you would choose make.com because that's what we're going to be using, and it's going to ask you for a server URL. And basically what a server URL is, it's just an address of where do I send this package or this information to. And we wanted to send it to make.com. And in make.com, and if you haven't done so, please log into make.com, create a free account. Here you're gonna see scenarios, and scenarios is an operation of what to do with the information provided by Vapi. So let's say Vapi gives make.com, hey, this dude wants to place a reservation for 2 p.m. tomorrow, and he wants chicken McNuggets. I don't know, but it's gonna send that information to make.com, and make.com will actually run processes in the background and do things with the information. So if you want to create a scenario, you press create scenario, start from scratch, choose a webhook. Basically what a webhook is, it's the thing that listens for information given by Vapi. So it's gonna wait patiently until it receives something. So I'm gonna choose custom webhook. Choose a hook. If you don't have a hook, just make one. And then you're gonna copy this address. This is an address of where Vapi is going to send the information to. So you want to send it to this scenario. So we're gonna copy paste that in, save, next, and property name. So this is where you're gonna get to define your variables. So a potential variable could be, let's say we're making a tool function for placing a reservation. So one important thing would be time of reservation. Let's see, order, wait, no, number of people in party. And if you see down here, there's a little box. This lets you choose what kind of variable it's going to be. So for this one we have string. String is a way to say that you are going to store words, numbers, or just words basically. Numbers, you can only store numbers if you can only store numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. And the rest you don't need to worry about. But for this one we want to have letters. So we're going to choose string. Save it. And click next. What's the name? This is book a reservation. Booking a reservation. Okay, as you can see, we have our tool function right here. We see our properties, they're all here. And we would go back to the assistant and we would say, hey, whenever the customer provides the order and the time of the reservation, then you must run this function. The function is going to remember that information. It's going to put it in these variables like 2 p.m. and for this one it could put it in like 3 people, and then it's going to send it over to this scenario. This is going to listen to it, and then this is going to listen to it, and then it's going to remember it, and it's going to run a processes. So to make it run a process, so for this make.com scenario to run a process, we can add a module. We could do whatever we want with the information. So let's say we can do something with AI. So we could take this information, run it through AI for some reason, I don't know. But that just shows you like you could do anything with the information. What else? So now that you've seen how Vapi and make.com kind of works, I'm gonna show you guys some other details. So just remember that you always want to press save for this one, and in Vapi you would always want to press publish, and you're gonna make sure you're on the correct time zone. I've had so much problems in the past with being in the wrong time zone, and then like it sucked ass. It was so complicated, I didn't know what to do. But then I realized, brother, you're in the wrong time zone. So make sure you choose the correct time zone. For me, it's Los Angeles. For you, it might be different, but please choose the correct one. And just to let you know, you have a max of 2 active scenarios that you keep on at one time. Those are for free, totally for free. You can start this off. And whenever you want to talk to the assistant, you would press this thing right here.
Hi there, welcome to Noriega Teriyaki House. How can I help you today?
Alright, as you can see, it worked perfectly fine. And then one more thing that I want to mention, you want to get used to using logs. Like basically logs is just history. It's like the history of Google. If you want to check on a recent call you made, or a recent call, you go to calls, logs calls, you choose the call, and then here you can see so much information. This is where you're going to be doing a lot of debugging. You can see what the assistant said, what you said. You can see like analysis, messages. This is a JSON, but don't worry. Anyways, calls, and for make.com, the history will be, you can see the history in right here, history. This is where you're going to be able to see a lot of your things. As you can see right here, there was an error. So whenever you see an error, you want to troubleshoot it. Whenever something doesn't go wrong, you want to troubleshoot it. Like, you want to see what the inputs and outputs are. For this one, here's the input, here's the output. That's the most important thing. You want to see how your data is handled, how it is manipulated, and what the outputs and inputs are. Just to show you guys what we're going to be doing in the next video, we're going to be creating this whole entire thing, which I slayed ass for a whole month to make a prototype, just so you guys could get for free. But that's because I love y'all. Anyways, you guys are going to get to see this whole thing for free, get the template in my link, and then we're going to start selling it in the next video. Hopefully that goes well. But it's important that you know how to use Vapi and make.com, especially if you have no coding experience, because like these are meant to be no coding, but it can still get a little tricky if you don't have like a small little like basic idea of how coding works. But just to recap everything I said so far, Vapi is a system that takes a call, it documents the information, and then it'll send the information to another system called make.com. Make.com is the actual back end. It's gonna take the information, run some processes, do some things at once, and then it's gonna spit out an output. That output is gonna go back to Vapi. That output is gonna go back to Vapi, and then Vapi will give you a response. So let's say you called up Vapi. Hey, I want to book a table for 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'm with 3 people. Vapi's gonna remember that. It's gonna store it in the little variables. it's gonna send that to make.com. Make.com will hear it, it'll listen to it, it'll take that information, it'll run a lot of processes. Like, it will create a Google Calendar event with 2 p.m. tomorrow with 3 people. And then it's gonna send information back to Vapi telling that, hey, this was successful. We booked your reservation. Now you go tell the customer that it was totally successful. Vapi will go tell the customer, hey, good news, this works. Bye. That's how it works. But I'll try my best to streamline this whole process as much as I can, especially for you guys who don't know a single thing about coding. And just to remind you, the next video we're gonna create an entire AI receptionist restaurant voice assistant from scratch. So make sure all this information is natural to you. The basics are most important, or else you can't get to here. But yeah, thank you for watching. That's it for today's video. I'll see y'all next time in the AI reception voice assistant video. See y'all.